You're listening to WICR, Iona College Radio.
Welcome back for our second segment of The Rock is On. I'm your host, The Rock, and we're still going to talk about football and the NFL draft, but this time with a local team, and that team is the New York Jets. Now, we've heard all the rumors and all the reports that the Jets that are going on or that are involving the Jets, whether it be Ryan Fitzpatrick or Muhammad Wilkerson, but I want to talk about the current contract situation between the Jets and Muhammad Wilkerson. Now, I know as an NFL athlete, no, I'm not an NFL athlete, but I can just tell, work when you work so much, when you work so hard and put a lot of time and effort into it, and you just put up gaudy stats and just unbelievable numbers, you want a big payday, and that's the situation with Mo. And I think Mike McCagnon and company, I guess they can say they're a bit reluctant and a bit leery to give it to him because I guess they don't value him as Mo values himself. That's understandable. That's part of the business. But this is what I don't get. And this is just what baffles me. If you're Mike McCagnon, how do you not consider or value Muhammad Wilkerson? We call him Mo. Jet fans call him Mo. How do you not value Muhammad Wilkerson, but you value Sheldon Richardson? Now, keep in mind, they're both good players, but if I had to choose between Muhammad Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson, I choose Mo in a heartbeat. I choose Muhammad Wilkerson in a heartbeat. Because Richardson, he's a good player. He's all right. I wouldn't say he's all right. He's a good player. He's a good pass rush. But here's the difference. Muhammad Wilkerson can disrupt an offense and just ruin an offensive game plan. Richardson can't do that. Because I put Muhammad Wilkerson and J.J. Watt on the same level. That's how good Muhammad Wilkerson is. I compare him to J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt can disrupt an offense, so can Muhammad Wilkerson. Richardson can't do that. And just what baffles me even more is that they exercised his fifth option. They gave him a fifth-year option. Meanwhile, this guy last year, if any of you Jet fans or any you NFL fans know, this guy Sheldon Richardson got a 4-game suspension for violating the drug and substance policy of the NFL, along with driving 125 miles per hour with a 12-year-old in the back seat, the car smelling like weed, and having a gun. Tell me, how does that happen? How do you choose that guy over Muhammad Wilkerson, who Wilkerson, is a great family guy, great teammate, great player, both on and off the field, stays out of trouble, doesn't want the limelight. If I was him, I wouldn't want the limelight. I would stay out of the limelight. But you know what? But I feel like Wilkerson's more deserving of the contract. The Jets should pay more attention to Wilkerson than Richardson. They should. And plus, you throw in the fact that he is a local guy. He's from Linden. Played at Linden High School. Went to Temple, Todd Bowles' alma mater. So there's a connection there. But it's just, why would you trust Sheldon Richardson after all the garbage and nonsense that he represented and that he performed? Is that what the organization is? If you're Mike McCagnon, why would you choose that guy over Wilkerson? Why? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. And then you hear the reports last week that about last week or a week or two ago, that the Jets were in the running to get the number one overall pick, and that Muhammad Wilkerson was a big chip for that. And when I heard that, I'm like, unbelievable. And it's just, as a Jet fan, it's just saddening because this guy is a phenomenal player. He's one of the best defensive linemen in the league. And the Jets should build around him. They should. And you heard the rumors last year that they could trade him in last year's draft, and that's why they drafted Leonard Williams, because of the whole contract situation. But you know what? You can't get rid of a guy like this. You can't. Because if I'm Mike McCagnon, I'd be going out of my way. I'd be bending over backwards just to make sure that Wilkerson is a Jet for life. That's how good he is. That's that's how much I'm praising Muhammad Wilkerson, because he's that kind of player and he can do so much. And I feel like if Mike McCagnon were to trade him, that would be more of a detriment to the Jets than an asset. And I don't care if the trade does happen, which could seem inevitable. I don't care what they get. I don't care if Paxton Lynch is the quote-unquote the savior of the Jets or the Jets franchise quarterback, because you don't know if he is. The franchise quarterback could be Geno Smith. It could be Bryce Petty. Shockingly, Geno Smith. But you know what? You can't. If you want, you can't. I repeat, you can't trade a guy that has a caliber. You can't trade a guy like Muhammad Wilkerson, who's such a phenomenal athlete and is just so talented. You can't. You know, he's like, in a way, I'm going old school here. He's kind of like Joe Klecko in a way. You know, plays the game, blue collar player, plays the game the right way, gives up his body for every play, and does whatever it takes to win. That's what Muhammad Wilkerson is. And I don't know why the Jets, you know, they waited this long, and they still don't have a long contract deal. I get it, you know, you want to bring back Fitz, but you know what? They got to come to realization, or Fitz has to come to realization that, you know what, I'm not going to get a market, or a team's not going to come sign me, or is not going to sign me to that big lucrative contract that I want. So you know what, I'll go back to the Jets. Plus, you know, I got two of the best wide receivers in the NFL with Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall, and then I have Matt Forte, who's a slight upgrade than Chris Ivory. Now, I liked Ivory, but I think Forte's better than Ivory. You know? But like I said, if Mike McCagnon and the Jets trade Muhammad Wilkerson, that would be the worst trade and worst decision that McCagnon has ever made, bar none. You know what? And I'll admit, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge supporter of Mike McCagnon. But I think the way he values Muhammad Wilkerson is just wrong. And the fact that he's using him as a trade chip, you know, and you see him as a trade chip for the draft picks, is just wrong. Now, you see him, you know, if you see him on SNY or Jets.com or Jets Nation, when he's talking to the media, he says, "Oh, we're not actively shopping Muhammad Wilkerson." Pfft, lie. Because they even said it, and there was multiple reports saying that he was a trade chip for the Titans to get the number 1 overall pick. You know? But it's just, it just drives you crazy, though. And I like Muhammad Wilkerson. I think he's one of the best defensive players, top 5 in the league. And then, you know, the Jets, they have a top 5 defensive lineman. And if you trade him, that will just be a detriment to the Jets. Because I don't think Leonard Williams and Sheldon Richardson are as good as Muhammad Wilkerson combined. And plus, you got to think, you know, you lost Damian Harrison, a.k.a. Snacks, to free agency to the Giants. Because I understand, if you don't want to pay Snacks, okay, you let him go. But you don't get rid of Muhammad Wilkerson. You can't even think about trading Muhammad Wilkerson. If you want to accumulate, I don't care. And I don't care how many draft picks you can get for him. I don't care. You don't trade a guy like Muhammad Wilkerson. You know? And I can understand, you know, you have the Revis contract. He's not going to Revis is going to take every dollar. He has a reputation, and he's notorious of doing that, of taking every single dollar that he can get. And he's greedy. Let's be honest with that. But like I said, you know, before, it just baffles me that Mike McCagnon would take a chance on Sheldon Richardson, who has his off-the-field shenanigans and is not even as talented as Muhammad Wilkerson, over Mo. It's so, I could say, frustrating, you know, as a fan. Because as a Jet fan, I watch every Jet game. I know who's an asset. I know who's good. I know who's okay. I know who's not great. You know? But I'm just hopeful. Though. Hopefully, Mike Maccagnan and the Jets front office can just come to their senses and realize that, hey, we need to sign Muhammad Wilkerson to a long-term contract. I just hope. I really, really hope. And that concludes our second segment.